Well, Bob, we're about to celebrate our 35th anniversary. What do you think?
It's been quite a run, hasn't it?
It has
For
been.
the originally Renaissance Wind Band, now Pifaro, the Renaissance Band. Yeah.
So we're so happy to be here with Nancy Frederick, who has been a long-time fan, subscriber, friend, donor, supporter, in many ways, one of our favorite people.
It's been fun, every step.
All right. So this was our very first Wilmington concert in December of 1985. And we had actually started the series before that, the year before, with a Christmas program that was in Philadelphia. But then somehow somebody got us intrigued with the idea of doing it in Wilmington, and I'm not quite sure who that was.
Well, bless their hearts, whoever it was.
And if we hadn't done it, we wouldn't have met you.
That's right. You wouldn't. I didn't run to Philadelphia for concerts in those days.
That was our introduction to Wilmington, and really only after the second year of our series, after the first year.
Well, I've spent half my life being afraid you'd stop coming to Wilmington. We didn't have big enough audiences for quite a while. They're awfully good right now.
I think we're doing really well in Wilmington, and we will continue to do that. So you mentioned that the very first people in the group were that couple, right?
Yes.
Edwin George and Karen Myers.
Yeah, I couldn't remember Edwin George. That's what
he played bagpipe.
Yeah.
And she played various kinds of plucked strings.
Yeah.
But actually, we have to go back a little earlier than that, because we have to go back to prehistory.
And that's pre-me, actually.
That's pre-Bob.
Because I was not in on the ground floor.
You're given credit often for being one of the founding members.
That's right, but I was not a founder.
But you were not a founder.
I was found.
You were found. So this is the original group. Look at us all there. Joel Robinson, Peter Hoyt, me, Edwin George, and Wiley Aaron. We were members of the Collegium at Penn under Mary Ann Ballard. And we're doing concerts with them, but then decided to break off on our own. So that group lasted a year with this configuration. She went off and became a nun in a cloistered order in North Carolina.
Oh, Lordy.
A silent cloister.
Silent cloistered order.
Good
But I think
heavens.
they got to sing chant, but they couldn't talk.
Well, and the outfits date it as well. It's kind of early 1980s, early music ensemble.
Yes,
Chic,
actually, some
right?
yes, some
You can fool me.
some costumes. Yes, some homemade costumes. So that was the first iteration of the group, actually, way back then.
And you called yourselves the Renaissance Wind Band.
We said just the Renaissance Wind Band,
Right,
as
right.
simple as that, yeah. But then, after she left, actually it was 2 years, guess who came on the scene? Bob.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
So there we are. With,
That was 1982,
That was
wasn't
1982.
it? 1982.
so Bob was actually a student of mine in the beginning, and he was wanted to play recorder, and as soon as he started playing recorder, he wanted to play double reed. So I taught him how to play double reeds, and then
neat.
then he became a part of the group.
Well, you were a brass player.
I had been a brass player,
Yeah.
right? I played French horn, but I was at University of Pennsylvania studying classics, doing PhD work in classics, and saw a notice for the Collegium Musicum, and was playing recorder at the time, and ran an audition for the Collegium, and that's where I met Joan.
Oh, neat.
And then it just kind of took off from there.
Gosh, you're all wearing tuxedos and
That was the next garb.
Right.
Yeah.
It was
So from
the
costumes
tuxedo, right.
to more formals. That was the next iteration of Pifaro, but we were still just the Renaissance Wind Band at that point.
Oh, yeah, it was a long time before
Yeah,
you.
yeah, and then it was 5 years before we actually got incorporated. It wasn't until 1985, 84, 85, and that's when we started our concert series. We introduced some more people as time went on.
Oh, there's the gal, the lutenist.
There's the
Yes.
lutenist,
Yes.
right? There's Karen Myers and Gwyn Roberts, who is now the director of Tempesta di Mare.
Yes.
Right, so she played with us a number
I
of
remember
years.
her playing with you.
So there we have a variety of winds plus the strings. Then that lasted for a while. She left the group to go to Europe to study, and then we had a foursome. And there we are, Karen Myers. And at this point now we are the Philadelphia Renaissance Wind
I
Band.
remember that thing.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it.
Well, what do you think
The
it is? Yeah, grosser Bock, which means the
Grosser
big
Bock.
goat, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but for our incorporation, we decided that it would be good to have Philadelphia in there, so that's what we became. And the four of us were the members at the time. So then they left.
Yes, I remember that.
It was the great schism of 1989.
I understood it was something of a schism, but
It was traumatic.
And it was the right thing to happen. They wanted to go off and be their duet, Karen and George, and Karen and Edwin, and that was perfectly fine. And then Joan and I were left thinking, well, what shall we do? And we decided that we would just rebuild with the best people we could find.
Yeah.
And that's when we started adding the people who made up the main band in the 90s.
And so here we have our group of, you probably will recognize all those people.
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh, I remember his hair like that.
Tom
Yeah.
Zajac,
Yeah.
Eric Anderson,
Eric Anderson. Yeah.
Adam Gilbert.
Adam Gilbert. And
And Gwen was back from
She-
Europe
she came
after
back and
studying,
joined.
and so she rejoined the group.
wow.
And at this point, we're the Philadelphia Renaissance Wind Band.
Yeah. But you're still wearing tuxedos.
And we're still wearing
Still
tuxedos.
wearing tuxedos, yes.
And there's another outfit coming up that I think we'll see. That it was curious to see what all the early music ensembles
Yeah.
dressed like over the course of the years. Right?
Right. I don't think I have a picture of that, actually. The colored picture of the Deutsche Grammophon one, I don't have that one. But there you can see we got a little bit more casual.
Ah, yes.
See, there we are. That was a sort of a silly photo shoot. We're now in if this were color, you'd see we're all in silk shirts
yes.
of different colors. This was the next
Jewel-toned silk shirts was the next
was the
the
thing
next
that
uniform, right, that
for-
everybody was doing. And I think maybe we copied the King's Noise
we
at
did.
the time.
Yes, we
Right,
did.
right.
And Deutsche Grammophon on our first recording put us the image is all of us with our instruments in jewel colored, jewel toned.
Well, that's.
It was nice. It was nice at that point. But then we had another personnel change because Eric Anderson decided that he needed to focus on his work as a director of the Settlement Music School, the Queen Village branch.
Yeah.
So he left the group, and we have a new fellow, George Hoyt, a fabulous sackbut player who came in, and Gwyn left the group, and we have Adam Gilbert's wife,
Right.
His
Rotem.
future wife.
His future, they weren't married
They
at
weren't
that
married
point.
right
yes.
away.
But yes, they were now full members of the band in 1997,
Boy.
I think. Yeah.
And has he just come in?
And Grant,
Grant,
has,
mhm,
Grant
Grant
had
Herod,
come in a
right,
little bit earlier, yeah. So
He was
he's
91, I think.
Yeah.
Was his
Right.
first.
yeah. So he was a guest for a while, and then he came in, and we asked him to be a member. So that was the group for quite a while. But then George left because he decided he wanted to have a family, get married and have a family, and support his family. So he went to law school, became a lawyer.
One of the best sackbut players we had for a long time.
Right, and we can hear him still on the Flemish recording that we did, our final recording for Deutsche Grammophon. So that group remained for a while, but then when George left, we brought in Greg Ingalls,
Greg Ingalls,
who has been with us since then, and this was a very good group and stable group for a couple of years until Adam Gilbert left, and
Yeah, I remember.
he left because he became a full-time professor and
Yeah.
could not do that anymore. It was too much for him.
Well, and they went to the West Coast.
They went to the West
Which didn't
Coast.
help
West
either.
Coast,
Right. And Rotem stayed with us for a couple of years after that, but then with 3 kids and now she's a full-time professor herself. They're both full-time at USC in LA.
Do you have any specific memories, any moments in the first decade or so that come to mind? The Stadtpfeifer of Holzweg.
Stadtpfeifer, yeah.
Of Holzweg, yeah.
And here are some of the
With the
images.
most wonderful costumes.
Yes.
Glorious.
And the two actors, you can see them here. Mark Jaster, who's been with us, who's done a number of things with us since then, and then Morgan Duncan, who just did this one show with us.
He was the professor.
He was the professor,
with
the stodgy professor. Yeah.
The stodgy one, yeah.
Yes.
Who finally got converted by the end of the show and got into the action.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really high point in the 90s.
Fantastic.
Is putting this together, a fully memorized show, fully costumed, lights and everything.
Beautiful lights, beautiful
And,
set.
right.
The paintings of the drops were exquisite, and a great story. So thank you so much, Nancy, for joining us.
You're welcome entirely.
We will see you at the concerts.
Right, indeed.